This segment is brought to you by Crash Plan.
It's time once again to play the game, What's Up with the Duck? And we're talking once again exfiltration with these guys. I love these guys, the little quackers. Of course, you guys know I'm talking about the USB Rubber Ducky. These guys look like an innocuous little thumb drive, but no, they are actually a simple programmable USB tool for all sorts of fun keystroke injection attacks for use in penetration tests and other fun social engineering. Last week we talked about exfiltration, which is a fun, nefarious word for things like, well, I like to call it involuntary backup, but some people call it data theft. Last week we talked about a way to do this without ever using, your regular mass storage thumb drives, or even using the network or the internet, which is kind of really beautiful. It sets off very few alarms. However, today we're going to look at another method. You see, last week we used our target Windows machine was, for instance, a laptop with a wireless card in it, and we were able to take that wireless card and turn it into a wireless access point that we could then connect to from afar, not really afar, but within parameters of Wi-Fi afar, and pull down data, which was awesome, right? We're going to do it again today using two pieces of gear. Of course, we've got the USB Rubber Ducky, whether it's in a case or just the naked board, and your just standard thumb drive. I happen to be using, a fun little Hak5 engraved one here, but otherwise, any drive will work. And this should be a really fun, even if you don't have a USB Rubber Ducky, as far as, techniques for getting some data off of your target PC. So if our target in this case does not have Wi-Fi, yes, we could use the internet to, back up data from this machine. However, I find that to be the least desirable technique, as it might set off alarms if there's, intrusion detection filters or other sorts of things on the network that might actually see this and report it. So to set this all up, I want to first give mad props over to Oberrath. Oberrath, right here on the USB Rubber Ducky forums, has an awesome USB Ducky Slurp payload. And so if you're familiar with the concept of pod slurping, this was back in the day where you would take an iPod and, specially craft it with a payload so that it would auto-run on a Windows PC. And since the iPod is nothing more than a giant hard drive, it would download all the data to it. And we did something similar with the Switchblade and things of that nature. I would like to revisit this payload and make it a little bit more stealthy and do some debugging so that it works a little bit more reliably. So that's what I've done. I've added some, cloaking techniques. Also, mad props goes to Google Knows Best. What an awesome handle for adding some fun stuff to this. And so, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive in, because now it's all about the Windows batch foo, which is almost as fun as bash shell foo. Actually, it's kind of more fun in a way, because you have to get your head into an insane sideways mode. Like if you're used to bash or TCL. That's the proper, yes, okay, I can do this. And then to think in DOS mode, you kind of have to just do this. So I'm just going to do this for the rest of the segment. And so I'm going to pull up a command prompt here. Of course, this is my favorite way to pull up a command prompt is with this PowerShell goodness, because it pops up the UAC dialog, which we can simply bypass by holding down the Alt key on our keyboard and Y. And so now we are an administrator on our command prompt. We're going to go cd /, and I've already wait.bat. I've already created this, right, cat. No, there's no cat, there's type. I hate switching back and forth between Windows and Linux. It's just, sometimes it messes up my brain. That's weird to see. Here, let's see it this way. All right, so this is the batch file. Be a little bit easier to show it off this way. And what this is going to do is start a very simple loop. In fact, we're going to use something really god-awful here called goto to do our loop. But we're going to call this loop while1. This is just naming our loop. And this is the secret sauce right here. This is really cool. What it does is we are taking a look at this command, which is echo list volume, that we pipe into disk part. And then we pipe that to find string, and we're finding a string ducky. So let me show you what this does first. So we echo, what was it again, list volume, and pipe that into disk part. If we do that, this is just going to show us all of the volumes on our computer, which is great. We can actually see, hey, look at all those healthy hard drives I have. Wonderful. And if we do that again and pipe that to find str for find string ducky, we're not going to get anything back because I don't have anything on my machine named Ducky. However, we will soon, and that's why we're doing this little loop here. So we're going to say, hey, take a look. If there's any drives named Ducky, we're going to tell it to do some stuff. If that's not the case, we're going to loop around again. And so to do that, we've said token 3 delims. This is basically kind of like sed and awk on Linux, where we're going to take the delimiter as a space, and we're going to take the third token, which in this case is the drive letter, C, F, D. The reason for all of this is because after we've injected our machine with this little payload, which sits here and waits, it's waiting for a regular mass storage thumb drive named Ducky to be plugged into the computer. And the beautiful reason for this is we could take, this is just a 4 gig thumb drive, but we could take something massive, a 64 gig. We could use a USB 3.0 drive if we know our target has that capabilities and really pull down data off of it very quickly. So I like the versatility of this in that case. And the thing about it is, to make this work beautifully for any machine, we want to be able to know what the letter of the thumb, or the drive letter of the thumb drive is. See, if this was Linux, we would just, find it with /dev or take a look with dftech-h or several other different methods. They don't have the drive letters, but Windows is crazy and it has drive letters and it's based on DOS and all that other fun legacy stuff. So that's what we're having fun with here. So in order to actually find out what the drive letter is, that's what this loop does. And there you go, Bob's your uncle. So what we do is a little condition here. We say if, and we're setting all of this. We're saying in this loop, run this command and set the third variable, if it's found to be Ducky, to this variable which we've set as Ducky drive. Now in this case, you can see I've run it and I just get a blank, right? This blank right here means there's nothing. So this is an empty variable. So I'm saying if this variable now equals nothing, well then we're done. And in this case, I've actually done a little echo. It says waiting on the drive, right? So we're going to just wait. I'm doing a timeout /T3. As you can see, does exactly what you would expect. It waits 3 seconds and then moves on. And then we do go to while 1. So this is it. This part of the loop is when nothing's plugged in. But else we actually have a drive named Ducky on our system. And I guess this whole thing assumes that your target PC doesn't actually have a hard drive named Ducky, or else that would really throw this for a loop. But who has that? We're going to go to break. Break gets us out of the loop, and this is where we start the fun stuff. And actually, this is how we literally start the fun stuff. And I'll show you more on making that crafty and invisible later. But just as an example, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to find on the specially crafted thumb drive. So I'm not running this. I'm just going to plug in my thumb drive here and go to computer. And you can see it's named Ducky. F2, rename it to whatever. In this case, I want it to be Ducky, right? All right, so my drive is labeled Ducky. I'm going to come in here, and first things first, create a folder on the root called Duck Slurp. You don't have to do this. This payload's set up in such a way that everything is all nice and neat, so if you're using this drive for other stuff, it's not going to kind of, tidy up your file system. Right, so we go into here, and we can see I have a demo bat, which I'm going to show you in a sec, and then this Duck Slurp bat. Okay. It's going to create a new folder for all of the machines that we're going to target with this attack, which is really nice because then, at the end of the day, we can run fun reports and actually have like names of computers and again, tidying up your file system. But let's go ahead and take a look at the demo batch file, which is similar to the Duck Slurp batch. Okay, so this demo batch, if I edit this in Notepad, we'll see we do a simple echo off and then mad props to Mike W. for sending this by in the YouTube comments of last episode, pointed out there's a really fun way. Again, this is obfuscation, and it's actually not necessary. We'll see in a second, but it's still really cool. We echo installing Windows Update or something else innocuous. As we showed off last week, you could also do color, FE, or whatever the hex code was to make the terminal yellow on white, or you could do mode con colon calls equals 14 and rows equals 1 and all of that to make it very small. But for the time being, we're just going to print on the screen installing Windows Update. we're going to set the destination. This is the destination where we're going to copy our files to this very special magical variable, which is %sign tilde D0. Okay, so the % is, all special variables start with a % in the DOS world, and tilde D specifies the actual drive that our batch file is living on. And in this case, well, E. It turns out it's drive letter E. Of course, it's going to be different from system to system. And then 0, in this case, is the actual file itself. So in this case, what we're doing is we're setting the destination to this drive /Ducky Slurp / again, computer name is a special variable. If I come back over to our command prompt and echo and paste that computer name, we can see there's the name of the computer. Just as if I echo user profile, we can see it just gives you back the directory for my home and all of these other fun things. Let's continue on here. So after we've set that destination, we make the directory on the USB drive. Then we do an if exists user profile, as I just demonstrated, /documents, which I know it does over here. So if I go to cd user profile and cd to documents, and then start dot, which is a fun way to just open Explorer in that directory, you can see there we go. I've got all of these files here that I may want to keep, on my PC. But I may also, want to be a helpful guy that wants to help back these up to my thumb drive. So in that case, in the batch file here, we just specify this is our target. And so if this exists, what we're going to use is xcopy. And we haven't even done there's a bunch of other options we can do in xcopy, but just to make it simple, we're going to do a basic xcopy of that documents folder to that destination variable, which we set as being, I guess in this case, it would be e:\\Ducky Slurp / the name of my computer. And then here's the bit where, mad props to Mike. Check this out. So we pipe this to null. And in Windows, that just basically means it's not going to display it on the screen. So when you run this batch file, the only thing that you're going to see on the screen is updating Windows or installing Windows updates. Wonderful. Thanks for that tip. That was pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and put all of this together. Save. Come back here and run my CLS and run my wait file. Okay. So I'm going to unplug my USB drive. This is no longer on my system. I'm going to go ahead and run this wait. And as you'll see, it's waiting for the Ducky drive. It's going to wait 3 seconds, goes through the loop again, it still doesn't see the Ducky drive. So let's go ahead and plug the Ducky drive in. With this now in the system, we see it's mounted, and there we go, installing Windows Update. Now what this actually did was that xcopy, and I've put all of these pauses in here and other things so you can actually see what's actually going on, because in a minute we're going to make this really discrete. And we can even see Ducky drive found, this is where we execute the payload. And so let's come in and check out our payload, because under Ducky Slurp, there's the name of my computer, DKZ3. I go into there, hey, check it out. Secret plans for world domination. All of my files, they've been stolen, or I'm sorry, they've been backed up, which is fantastic, because now I can easily back up my computer whenever I like by just plugging in a duck in a USB drive. So now let's make it stealthier so that when I go to back up my computer all the time, I don't have to see a whole bunch of stuff pop up, because that'd be really inconvenient. All right. So in that case, let's take a look at the actual Ducky script, because I've updated this just a bit. So we do the basic stuff like bypass UAC, open a command prompt, and then we change over to the temp directory, which again here are these magic variables, %temp, right? Then we go over, and I love this, actually delete, or actually not delete, but erase, Ducky wait.bat, just in case I've already done this to my system, which is kind of nice. It's always good to clean up after yourself as well. After that, we do a copycon, which is my favorite DOS command we talked about last week, about injecting, text right into a file through the command prompt, and we do that file I just showed you. The difference in this case is at the very end here, rather than running demo.bat, we're actually going to execute wscript for Windows scripts in viz.vbs, a Visual Basic file, and then that duckyslurp.bat. All right, so as we can see, we've got that Ducky Slurp.bat here. As long as I'm in Explorer, I'm going to delete this so we can do a demo again and see that it got it. And we'll take a look at that here in a second, but let me just keep that open. But we'll run that Ducky Slurp batch file. Control-Z, and then we erase invis.vbs before we create it. This is a really beautiful file. Invis.vbs, this is all you need to it. I'm not going to walk you through it. Basically, you run this, and with the parameter of what batch file you'd like, and that batch file becomes invisible, which is fantastic. And then at the very end, we just go ahead and wscript invis.vbs ducky wait. So no more will we see like we did right here, waiting for Ducky drive, waiting for Ducky drive. That's the kind of stuff we don't want to see. So then we basically exit out. So let's go ahead and actually inject this on our system, and we'll see that when it's all said and done, it runs this with the invis, right? So this is the same as it was before. The difference here is, it will still say installing Windows Update, right? I don't have a pause anymore like I had before, but I've taken that out, and even though it's actually set to echo installing Windows Update, we will never see that because of that Visual Basic script that we used. So once again, to take a look at my Ducky drive, we can see my Duck Slurp folder. I do not have a computer folder here. So I'm going to unplug my USB drive. And so, all right, here we go. So I come up to the target machine. I only need a few seconds. Paul walked away from his computer for a few minutes. Oh well, Bob's your uncle. I'm just going to plug my Ducky in. And first things first, bypass UAC with a little command prompt goodness. Go over to the temp folder, inject our batch file, and start it. And that was it. We're done. I don't know how many seconds that was, but it wasn't long. And we can unplug our Duck now because it is done its dirty work. And now we just take any USB drive that we've named Ducky and put a folder called Duck Slurp with that batch file into the computer, and you'll see here nothing pops up. Nope, nothing pops up. That's why I did the other demo to kind of show you. Otherwise, there really isn't much here to demo. But if I open up Explorer and go to my Ducky drive, you'll notice now there's my DKZ3 again. There's my computer's name folder again with my secret plans for world domination and all of the other files that I had in my My Documents folder. And it's not just the My Documents folder. It's really any folder. If I were to come in here and, just edit my duckslurp.batch file, I can, just basically redo this over and over and over. And instead of documents, we could say pictures or whatever have you. So, yeah, that's the demo right there. We can also build on this with the techniques that we talked about in the previous episode as far as persistence is concerned, either to clean up this script or to make it so that this the wait batch file is always running in the background, which could be really useful if, say, this was a server or a workstation that I needed to frequently back up information off of. I could now, as a systems administrator running around the office, just have this one drive named Ducky and all of these machines all ready to back up their stuff to, and all I have to do is plug it into the machine and it copies the file. That's it. And actually, all of this comes back to systems administration. I mean, I show off here with like exfiltration and stuff, but to be honest, the Ducky, the whole project started because I, like many systems administrators, am lazy. And laziness brings automation, and automation brings all sorts of fun. So yes, that in a nutshell is how you could kind of automate all of this stuff. If you really wanted to get crafty even further, we could take, say, one of these little squid USB hubs, plug both the Duck and the guy into there, and then now I have one plug. In fact, if I really wanted to be like secret agent man, I could, hide that here and run a USB extension into my sleeve, and but you can have as much fun as you want with it. So once again, props to Overwrath, props to Mike W, props to Google Knows Best for this Ducky Script stuff. This is my contribution, making it more stealthy. And I value your feedback, so hit me up, feedback@hak5.org. Let me know what you think, and prepare for other fun, good stuff in the coming weeks with this. But until then, I'll look forward to your feedback, and we'll take a quick break. I want to take a quick moment to thank our new sponsor, CrashPlan. As you guys know, I have been using CrashPlan for years now, and I never thought I'd be really enthusiastic about backups, but let me tell you, I am, and it's because these guys do it right. Okay, the way that I feel is that data should be for your eyes only, and that's why CrashPlan offers the best security guards. Trust me, I've tried out everything. Nothing even comes close because these guys use Bruce Schneier's open source Blowfish cipher. You can use it to generate and import your own private key, so it's never stored on their server. You can do, the thing where you put it on the USB drive and you put it in a safety deposit box, encrypt it, however you'd like, it's yours. And what's more, CrashPlan, get this, I love this, they are cross-platform. It's not just for Windows and Mac, no, they are awesome for people using Linux, even Solaris. And so couple that with truly unlimited backups. And not like unlimited, like, oh yeah, it's unlimited until we throw all your connection down. It's like unlimited. Seriously, I have a couple of terabytes up there. Paul's got all the Hak5 episodes. You can see why we are so excited. So the fact is, CrashPlan software is so flexible. It'll back up any file, not just off-site, but even to your own external hard drive or even your friend's computers for free. So you should just check out the client for those reasons whatsoever. I mean, you guys know, as hackers, as geeks, as IT professionals, we understand the importance of off-site backups. And here at Hak5, just for you guys, because they love, Hak5 and are supporting Hack across America, they're giving us a huge discount. So get this, their 1-year unlimited plans are normally $59.99 a year, just about $5 a month. But get this, they've got a special page just for us. You have to go to crashplan.com/hackitup, and you get a whopping 20% off. So that's a year of unlimited backups for less than $4 a month. So it is never too soon to back it up. I highly advise you guys to take advantage of this, or at least just check out the software. It's super rad. crashplan.com/hackitup.
This week's Technolist photo of the week comes from Kalen, or Callan. Sorry if I said that wrong. He sends us a photo of his project, the Rogue Pi, and you can read all about this project. It's actually really, really cool, and I'm kind of thinking about doing one myself on the show over at his blog, which is crushbeercrushcode.org. Thank you so much for sending that in. That's actually really cool. I really enjoyed reading the entire blog about your Rogue Pi, and yeah, I can't wait to try to build one myself. And I would be honored if you even help me with that segment as well. Now you can share all of your awesome Technolist photos of the week over at feedback@hak5.org. Just remember to put in the subject line Technolist so that it's easy for me to find your photos.